Okay, everybody. Sorry about the snafu. It's pretty windy here. I think the internet got knocked off. I'm back again. So, if you are an electro desiccator or wannabe, and you want to learn how to price the Skin Classic appropriately every single time, then please stay tuned. If you are in the chat, please let me know where you're watching from. I'm broadcasting on my page and also YouTube. Something happened with the connection, so I'm not sure if you're all getting this, but pop where you are watching from. And also, once you get through this training, and it will be available in replay, you will be able to have people throwing credit cards at you to have their irregularities treated. So, in the comments, whether you're on YouTube or you're on my Facebook page, make sure you comment with the words charge it. Okay. Just charge it. Oh, finally, I'm in. Thank you. Yes. I had some technical difficulties, so I'm really sorry about that. I'm going to get going as more people start popping in. They can catch up with us. How's that? So, pricing the Skin Classic is very important, and we don't want to. Take anything for granted. I'm going to show you slide after slide how we're going to take advantage of this. First of all, why people are doing it, I'll just do a little right down memory lane. And I'm not going to be talking about like being a used car salesman, but there will be a little bit there. Hey, Janet. Hey, great guys. Glad you're hopping in. Be a really good one. And I'm going to be going fast and furious. So just try to keep up. And if you have to want to do something, it'll be available on YouTube. Okay, so enough of that right now. So, okay, I'm going to start off with a few things here that are really important. Now, in order to set yourself up for success, there are certain things that we need to do. And I've talked about this a lot in other trainings as well. So, what you can do is this. This form is one of my ninja tricks that absolutely positively guaranteed without a shadow of a doubt works. If you put this blurb, what minor skin imperfections would you like treated today, then people will check something off. You will need to talk about that Skin Classic every single day. So don't let this stop you. Like, make sure you get this on your form today if you want to do more Skin Classic. Hey, Connie, yay, great. Okay, so that, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't know how many times I have talked about that form, but it is the number one ninja trick in doing more Skin Classic. But a lot of you that I saw hopping in may not be as experienced with the Skin Classic. Like, I have some, like Andrea. She is just a long time Skin Classic provider. So she's got more confidence because she has had her own before and afters. So that's important. The more you do, the more confidence you will gain. But we have tools here at RN Faces that I hope have made it easier for you guys to go ahead and bridge that gap with people wanting the procedure. So somewhere in your world, let people know, whether it's a sign. I used to have a sandwich board that said the nurse is in with all of these irregularities, so that I didn't always have to talk about it, but it was somewhat of a conversation starter. And these are nice on sandwich boards outside your office if it's appropriate for you to do that in your area. So, one big thing is I know that all of you Skin Classic providers out there have a before and after book. So there are so many pages, there's like 90 pages in here. And it shows your client what they can look like. You may have your own before and afters, and that's even more terrific. But if you don't, that's why we have this book, so that you can show clients what they can expect with the Skin Classic. Even some of these photos in here have before, during, and after, so that they can see the healing process, going along with their treatment. So, sitting down with a consultation will give your clients that feeling of calmness, very professionalism, not like, hey, we're going to go zap these things. You want to sit and chat about it. It only takes a couple minutes, but the more you chat about it, the more you open this book, you open it in front of your client, you're going to be able to really explain things better to them. And that's what they need. Also, all of you out there I know that are watching, and some of you guys are new, but the Skin Classic comes with the Derm Light. So this Derm Light that you see is something that it's expensive. It's regularly 405 if you try to get them on like Amazon, but I always have it for sale in the store. So if you're watching, perhaps you use another type of machine, hopefully the American made machines, because they are the true electrode desiccators, not a cauterizer. So you want to make sure that you're using a good machine and that you're going to be able to view irregularities. And if you guys can still hear me and all, please give me a thumbs up. My internet's going a little nutsy and it's telling me it's slowing down or something. But anyway, I'm going to keep moving on. So the Dermlight DL100 is available now. When you are looking at your clients and you want them to know that you know what you're talking about, you've got to take the time to go ahead and look at them. So whether you are lucky enough to have the Derm Light in your hand because it comes with your Skin Classic, at the very least, put on a good magnifier that you actually put on to show your clients that you care about them. You're not just saying, oh, yeah, we're going to zap these things for you, because that sounds too casual, way too casual. So you want to give it their irregularities importance. And that is with a Derm Light, or at the very least, some magnifiers. These are called Mag Eyes from um, Amazon. So, those are some ways that you can certainly make sure that clients feel like they're in good hands. Let's see, I think I might have something else too. So, this is a quick video on the Derm Light. And here it's important to look at your skin. And this is what a mole would look like. You could see the little red squiggles, and you guys have seen these before, probably. That's a good keratosis. And there's the keratosis. It even had a little makeup in it. So that's what that look is there. It's good for tattoo removal. See how deep it is. You want to quantify hair growth. You're going to be able to do it with a Derm Light and take pictures. Some of you have a little bit of difficulty with that, but I have a video on that also. It's just a good wow factor. Clients appreciate when you do take these pictures and show them. And certain things we can't treat, but we learn to identify what those are. And it also helps us in our treatments so that we don't treat something we shouldn't treat. So lots of good reasons why the Derm Light DL is really, really good for us. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what the Skin Classic is, because I see a few strangers on here, I want to show you before and after from our talented providers. So most of these are one-time treatments. There may be a little cleanup that needed to be picked up maybe after 6 weeks, but basically it is one treatment. But I always, always, always set my client up for a second treatment just in case. And clients dream of what they could look like. So when you do show them these photos, they think, wow, that could be me. And then we have to think to ourselves, what is it worth to that client to have that done? Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty. Now, there's lots of ways to skin a cat, right? And mine isn't always the perfect way, but I really do think so because it's kind of foolproof. Okay. So I'm going to let me make myself a little smaller here. There we go. Okay, so in a nutshell, and this is something that you want to put on a loop in your head. Client says, "Wow, I have 4 skin tags. What are you going to charge me?" It is super easy. The first words out of your mouth should be, "I charge $25 per irregularity." Now, if you're in an area like I have Nurse Jenkins in Manhattan, he charges $35 per irregularity. But me, I've always charged 25. I keep it simple like that. So, charge. First words out of your mouth would be, "I charge $25 per irregularity." Let's take a look and see what you've got. Okay. So this way you have already spilled the beans. There's not going to be guessing what you're going to charge. There may be differences though. So this is where all of this will come in. So if you have multiple irregularities upon a consultation, I may take into consideration that you have tiny ones versus large ones. So there's always wiggle room for you to give your client a more fair approach than the full $25 per irregularity, and maybe they have 10 irregularities. That's $250. I may take a look and see if a couple of those were super tiny and maybe adjust my price. But you have got to, if you are a new practitioner, even an older practitioner, and you're having trouble communicating this with your client, I think what you want to do is, and I don't like to be that used car salesman, but today I'm going to be one, because if you were a used car salesman, do you think your manager would let you out on the lot and try to sell someone a car that you really didn't know how it worked, what the buttons all are for? You would do that. You need to know your product. You need to look at your before and after book and really get a good sense of what the Skin Classic does. You want to convey to them very confidently that you know all about your product. You're not selling a product, you're selling a procedure. It is the same thing. If they hear a little bit of lacking confidence in your voice, they're going to know it. So, any new procedure you do, put it on a loop in your head. Talk to your client constantly. Get the words down. Let those first words out of your mouth be, "I charge $25 per irregularity." And when I look over here at at everybody that's on, and wow, there's so many of you. Thank you for hopping back on, because I had trouble with the internet here on the farm. But you want to make sure that the clients hear that. Some of you charge by time. I don't charge by time, and I'm going to show you why in a few video slides coming up, because the treatment is so quick that the client will start to say, "Well, if you're going to charge me for 15 minutes, oh, by the way, I have 2 more skin tags under my arm." They're going to start racking these up. I don't like to do that. I want to be professional. I want to give them a price that I know that they can afford. It might be on after a procedure. So that's how we do it. $25 per irregularity, Mrs. Jones. And let me see how many you have. And if we do treat you today, that would be $250. And then we'll do a follow up in 4 to 6 weeks. I only charge $25 for that follow up visit. And if anything like that larger skin tag needs a second treatment, I'll go ahead and treat that for just $25, even if I have to do 3 of them. So you're going to be happy, you're going to be smooth, and your client is going to love you for that. So that is really important. And you can, because I can't talk with you, but I would say it with me, everybody. I charge $25 per irregularity. And that will really make sure that your clients know what to expect. You don't want to hem and haw. Okay, so this was my client years ago in Cape Charles. And so you can see she's got some very large skin tags, and she's got a lot of small skin tags. This woman was incredibly happy. The videos are in the group, and some of them were very large. So this was her on the healed side. And she didn't hesitate to throw her credit card at me because I showed her other pictures of clients that were happy and I told her what to expect. And she was tremendously happy. But if I took my imaginary Q-tip and I started on one end, and of course, we see the very large ones, and there's probably like five good large ones, and then there are about four of the smaller ones, plus little small tags. I'm just talking about the picture, just what we see. She had them all around her neck. So she was like a mortgage payment. But if you just had this amount of skin tags on somebody's neck. So you have four very large skin tags, and then you've got the other cherry angioma. You've got a couple smaller ones. I'm gonna total that to about 8 to 10 treatments right there. So that would be $250. Now that would only take me approximately 6 minutes to do. So the treatment time is quick. Now, I did charge her a lot more because we had a lot more real estate with these. But if you're looking at somebody, they send you a photo, this is what you're going to chart. This is what you're going to say. Based on that, this is about the estimate. And if when you come in, I'll see what else you may have, and we'll give you an estimate on that as well. But a lot of people do send selfies, so you can only go by what the selfie says. So she was extremely happy. She's in our before and after book. Okay, so here's another one. People have trouble with capillaries. I'm not quite sure why, because a strand of capillary is just like a skin tag. So this nice gentleman done by Susan Kirk, she's a registered nurse. She was in Denver. Now she's in Arkansas doing a training there for me later this month. Anywho, um, so you can count up these capillaries, take out that imaginary Q-tip, right? And go from one side to the other. I think there are about 6 or 8 capillaries. Now, I'm giving him a little bit of the benefit of a doubt. Those two very long ones are very large, like a very large skin tag. But if I said, wow, he's got about 8 of those, that would be $200. Now, some of you out there might be thinking, wow, that's worth more than $200, don't you think? I mean, look how life changing it is. So, if you can get that in your head and think, wow, look at what a great procedure. He only needed a small touch up. And Susan told us that he was super happy with just the way it was, that he didn't even care to have a second treatment. He was that happy. So, you could have done a follow up, of course. But now, um, so you might feel like maybe you're undercharging for that, but I don't, because you know how long that would take to do? That would probably take all of about 5 minutes to do. Your probe is $1. So consumables are very low. What your clients are actually paying for is your confidence, your ability to identify these things, your ability to do it, to take care of them, to walk them through it with confidence. So that is what it's worth. You spent a lot of money on your Skin Classic. So there you have that. Plus, you're a professional. You went to school. Never feel like like you should have. You didn't charge enough, because you should be saying, I charge $25 per irregularity. Let me count up those lines and I'll give you an estimate. Okay. So that is a great way to do it. Let me see here. I'm gonna do that. Okay, so let's do a couple more here. We've got quite a few more. Okay, so this one's really easy, right? I love Kim Michelle. She's in New Mexico, and she sent in this before and after photo. And okay, so you might not think that looks really dramatic, because it was really only like one capillary, maybe two. She had one prominent capillary and a couple little ones. Maybe she treated those. Maybe this was her skin looks like it's in really nice shape before she treated it. Maybe it was right after a facial. Maybe it was right after a microdermabrasion or something she had at the office. So that capillary, there are a few moving parts. I would have charged $50 for that add-on to the procedure, because there are approximately 2 capillaries there. Would take all of about 3 minutes to do. You can always have your Skin Classic close at hand, and that's easy. Okay, so now I love doing hands. I don't know about you guys. Flat hyperpigmentation isn't everybody's cup of tea, but it is mine. I love to do it, but I look with my Derm Light always to make sure that there's not redness underneath, because that means that it's pretty much a little bit deeper. Our machine is only geared to work in the epidermis, so you're not going to get that dermal action with this machine. So everything's got to be superficial. And you can see, and you know what? Her hands, because of the way the picture was taking, her right hand on the first picture is opposite. So you can see the spots near her thumb. But that was one treatment. And I'm coming up to the next video. So, okay, look at those. If you think, I always had a full charge on hands, 200 or 300, because the treatment is quick, especially with flat hyperpigmentation. And that was a $300 procedure. If you take your imaginary Q-tip, you start outside on the hand and start tapping and touching. Here's one, here's one, here's one. Here we go. A few more, a few more. I would slow down a little. Don't want to sound like that salesy weirdo. And then I would go ahead with the procedure. And I want to show you part of this procedure and how quick it is. And of course, you'll see this in the group unless you are fairly new. So this procedure, I'm going to mute that. She was quite the chatterbox. So you're going to see how fast. I've put some witch hazel on there, very, very, very light tapping, and you have to be quick when it comes to flat hyperpigmentation. So you can, and see what a beautiful job that the before and after did for her. So they do hurt a little bit, but just quick, 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 quick. And she got a beautiful result, and you're just going to motor through this procedure so you can see how fast, right? That doesn't mean you have to work really fast in the beginning, but when you see videos like this and you see the results that you get, then you're going to know that you can move a little quicker, especially with flat hyperpigmentation. And if you guys have any questions along the way, let me know. But here again, I am almost across the one hand. And I think it took me 3 minutes, maybe three on each side. And I was chatting with her the whole time. On the real video, you'll hear all that. But she was really very good, and I was able to get through as quick as I could. So each hand took about 3 minutes. That's 6 minutes, people, for $300. So when you know what, I gotta go back now just to the picture. Okay, so when you look at this, yeah, there was a little room for improvement, right? Especially on that the left hand by the thumb, there was a little bit more hyperpigmentation. But there again too, she was pretty happy, but I did do a second treatment on her, and I only charged her $25 for all of the spots that I had to make up for. And it didn't take me long. It took me probably 3 minutes at the most. So you're still way ahead. And if you're new to watching right now, make sure that you comment, charge it in the comments. You're going to get a great checklist for charging your clients appropriately. And I am going to have a little giveaway at the end. So here is another wonderful and very ordinary outcome for the Skin Classic. This is DPN, one-time treatment. Dawn Session, a terrific provider in the Atlanta area. And this was one treatment. Now you can, the lighting was different, but this was the same client, I guarantee you. And you can still see she had a little residual under, on the eye. And I don't know if Dawn did that at a second treatment or not, but you can see what people may dream about. Now, if you took that imaginary Q-tip and you started from the side of the face and worked yourself all the way in, honestly, you could see that there's probably about 20 on each side. So 20 and 20, that's 40 times 25. That's like, wow, that's like $800, right? So I'm not going to charge my client $800, but I am going to say something like this. Based on the amount that I did, I charged $25 per irregularity. You might say that might be $600 or 700 or whatever it is. But based on the amount that you have some larger ones, but they're not super large, and you have a lot of tiny ones that really need to be addressed as well. So instead of maybe the $400 at that time, you can say, I would love to do all of these for you. And because some of them are very small, we can do that for 350. Would that be okay with you to go ahead and do that today? And when they see the before and after book, when they know that you've cared about their skin, if they really want to do these, if they checked it off on the form that you have, then they're going to want to do it. And you follow up with a $25 appointment, 4 to 6 weeks, to help do any cleanup. Let me check here and see if there are any questions. My max charge is 500. Way to go, Kim. Yeah, and Kim's a very talented provider, trainer, distributor up in New England, and so she said her max charge is 500. And my max charge is about $400 to $500. But that doesn't mean the whole body, right? So I might max out at the face, like have somebody with a lot of DPN. I might have somebody with, like, honestly, they can come with 50 skin tags on their neck. They're tiny, they have a little keratosis. So that would be another zone. You don't have to include that in your estimate that you give them for the Skin Classic. So yeah, so Kim said she maxes out at 500, but that doesn't mean that if they have their back covered with keratosis, that's a whole nother procedure. So if a client does have that much, they're going to see improvement after the first treatment, then you're going to have them hooked because now they have a friend in the business that can take care of them very economically and without bleeding, burning, removing any of that. So it's really a great way to go. But I'm glad you said that. And yeah, great, great. Okay, good, good. I'm going to keep moving here because I got lots of things here. Uh, okay, so this nice gentleman, I use some numbing cream on him, and he's in my videos. So I used some numbing cream on him, which meant he had to sit an extra 20 minutes. The numbing cream wasn't very expensive, but time is money. So if you are a practitioner that uses numbing cream, 99.9%, I don't. But this was so close to his eye. So I thought I would do that as a fellow Rotarian. So, what would you charge for something like this? You might say to yourself, well, there's only 2 skin tags, so that would be $50, right? No, I charged $100 because it was more important. It took a little bit more time. It took more finesse. When you see, but it didn't take any more time. Oh, his video's in here somewhere. Um, and it only took 1 minute per each side. But with that, he got my expertise, my calmness, my ability to treat it in its entirety, and he was very happy with the results. So, very well worth it. Oh, and I might say this too. He had just seen his dermatologist that week, so he had a few things burned off, and you can see that in the video in our group. And he said that his dermatologist was going to refer him to an ophthalmologist that would stick needles in him and numb him and then cut them out. So I think this was a much easier approach. And so he was super happy and thrilled to have that done. So, but again, so I charged a little differently. So, big skin tags like this, right? They only take a couple minutes, but you're going to do it in such a fashion that you're going to be done in a few minutes. So this nice gentleman was during a training and we didn't charge him. But if he had just those two skin tags, say after a procedure, I would have only charged him $50. So, but he had many more, and we would have charged him even more. Okay, this is a good one. This came from a training, so there was no charge factor involved, but it was done in two separate um, stations. So, two different treatments, and you can see what a beautiful job that that they did. This procedure was life changing for this client. If you took your imaginary Q-tip and you pointed out all of the keratosis. Maybe you take a picture so that then you could show your client what their back does look like because they can't always see it. You might want to look at those keratosis, see if you look for any ugly ducklings that might look a little different. You're going to do that. You're going to grab that derm light and take a look at a few. If anything looks a little different, you simply don't treat it. You can take a picture with your derm light so clients can keep an eye on it for when they go to the derm. So when you care about your clients and you go that extra route, then they don't mind paying. This would have been a good $400 back. And if this client was in my office at one time, that's what I would charge, and then do a follow up of only $25 because I want to get that great before and after photo and really clean up my clients so that they are happy. So always take out that imaginary Q-tip and do it that way. And remember, repeat after me. I charge $25 per irregularity. Let's see what you have. It's easy. That's all you have to say. And once you've said it, you have solidified it. You're not going to say, well, I can't tell you how many people I talk about microdermabrasion a lot, and I say, well, what do you charge for a microderm? Well, like, how do you not know? How do you not know what you charge? When you do that, your clients always feel like you don't know what you're talking about. It's just like, oh boy. Okay, so I get the eye rolls when I go for this one too. Just hang on. If you're a new practitioner there, or you want to ramp up your practice, maybe for a special event, I do it. I used to do this when my husband graduated nursing school and he joined me in the office. You're going to see what I did when I made it to a new office, a new location. I had to do something that would make people come out of the woodwork, make people join my books so that I had new clients wherever I went. And this works 100% guaranteed. Um, it's a half price special. Okay, you're new to the Skin Classic, and I see some of you are new in the chat box. So you're new, and there is nothing wrong with doing a half price special. You've seen me do them around Valentine's Day or other parts of the year, and that's to get people out of the woodwork. People that maybe are cheap, right? They love a great deal, but they're afraid. They don't want to go into the office because maybe you're going to overcharge them. They don't want to be embarrassed. So this works every time. And I'm going to tell you why it works because, like I said, people are cheap, but you're not cheapening what you're doing. Say you have that 8 skin tag person on their neck. They have 8 skin tags. And the minute you say, okay, I charge $25 per irregularity, you have 8 skin tags. Wow, that's $200. I'm so glad you're here today because that's $100 for you. Would you like to go ahead and do that now? So when you do that, you have set yourself up for success. You've already told them what the full price is, and then you're going to back it down half price. And where that comes in handy for a new person is this. Say you get that person with a lot of DPN, both sides. We saw a few photos. And you charge $25 per irregularity. You took that Q-tip, you pointed them all out, and they're sitting there thinking, oh, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. But then you say, normally I charge $25 per irregularity, and you have about $600 worth. But I'm really glad you're here today because I could do all of those for $300 during my half price special. Would you like to go ahead and do that? Now, if you are new to the Skin Classic or even not new, how would you like $300 in 20 minutes? Because that is a lot of work, but it won't take you more than 20 minutes. So if that appeals to you, then think about a few times of the year you would like to do that. It's your own embedded Groupon. That's what that is. So if you like Groupon, you can gather people that way, but this is your own internal. So your friends will tell their friends, hey, she is having a half price special. You know, you're going to be all over social media with it. People are going to want to do it. Now, I'm going to caution you because I have trained people since 2005 doing permanent makeup, Skin Classic, microdermabrasion. And when I say half price special, that's what I mean. I don't mean 20% or, 30% and we'll give you aftercare. No, you have to keep it super simple. People hear 50% off, half price special, $25 per irregularity. They hear that. That's what gets put in their brain, okay? So don't go your own way and just do 20%. People don't care about 20%. They care about 50%. So do a 50% if you like. You can't go wrong because the treatment is quick. Look at those hands I did for 300. If I charged 150 for that day, am I still ahead of the game? You better believe it. Absolutely. Especially because my probe only costs $1. So let me keep moving here because I know. So, okay. So Milia like a pro, this video isn't running, but she had so many of the little Milia. And if you've seen this video, it's a really, really good video. And it was just a touch for each Milia. Touch, insert, touch, insert, touch, insert. It's all we did. The procedure was done during a training at Lindsay Denoit's in Idaho. I was out there to train her, and she did this like a pro. It was like the first time she was doing this. It was amazing. The client did amazing. Now, this client's going to get more Milia. Of course, it was a training, so we didn't charge her, but I'm going to say she had like 10 to 15 on each side. So that's like 20 of them. That could have been like a $400 procedure. Now, clearing them all out is great. You know, she's going to get a few more down the road. So next time she, 2 months, 3 months down the road, if she starts to develop more, then you can say, I charge $25 per irregularity. You have 3 of them. We can treat those for an additional $75 today. How would you like to do that? And because it worked, they're all game for it. They'll say, okay, sure. They treat it as a great add-on. To go there. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Okay. And there's another Sarangoma that we've got going on there. Same thing. During a training, I did treat her, and you can see the results are dramatic. So if somebody were to be charged $300 this year, and then maybe next year, as many would resurface, they would go along with it, I do believe. So let's go to our next one here. Oh, and here is a little bit of that being treated. Okay, so I have Sherry in the chair again. We're going to treat these Syringomas, some of them that I didn't treat last time. So you could see them all through here, there, and this good cluster, but they look pretty darn good. Go ahead and open your eyes for me for a second. Good, and close. Perfect. So I'm going to just moisten these. She's had the treatment before, so she knows how it will feel. I'm going to give you a little touch here. Seem to be okay?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So you just hear the little witch hazel snapping. This cluster here. She did real well her first treatment. So there's no sparking, there's no smelling of flesh burn. These are just dehydrating these. You doing good, okay, Sherry?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So you can see that it is a very quick treatment with this. This one's a little bit more advanced, right? Because we just don't see that much of it. But once you look at the videos, and if you have clients like this, you'll know that you'll be able to flatten them out, but not totally get rid of them for good. But she still looks pretty good. I see her from time to time as a model during my classes in Cape Charles. Okay, so this one's a good one. I'll show it to you. I don't know why I really... In this video, you will see how the Skin Classic cleverly treats clogged pores and also closes them. We begin by using our F12 probe and inserting into the pore, not the skin, separating the core from the side wall. Once that is loosened, the extraction becomes very easy. Creating pressure from the bottom up will allow the material to come out generally all in one piece. This is done with much less trauma than other tools or techniques, as there is no bleeding, no band-aids. This Skin Classic training was done in Bordentown, New Jersey, the Skin Medic with Marguerite Hellwich. Already she is a pro at cleaning out these pores and setting this up to close permanently. When we permanently close these pores, we use the same probe, F12. Once this pore is completely cleaned and no residue, we will insert the probe into the pore, not the skin. We get to the base of the pore without any current, step on our pedal at 25, swirl out to seal this pore. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. I know why I have it here, because I don't advertise that I do close those pores, because it doesn't always work. You know, a skin tag, I'm going to get it. But an open pore like that doesn't always work. But it was during a training, and he had many keratosis and things like that. So we gave it a whirl, and it really worked. We've got his after pictures, like after a month or so, and it was closed. It doesn't always do that. So if somebody says, wow, I have a big open pore, can you close it? And you say, well, yeah, that'll be, I charge $25 per irregularity. Certainly it would be like more $50. That was a big to do, but I don't guarantee it. So I'll tell my client why I'm working. If I'm doing some cherry angiomas, okay, I'll go ahead and treat this. But if it doesn't work generally the first time, then it's not going to work. Not all of them close. And it is dramatic, but don't charge for that. Like, because it doesn't always work. Everything else does really work, but this one is iffy if it does. Now, Jade had a question. And Jade is our derm nurse from Houston, Texas. And she's got so much experience working with a dermatologist, and she's doing mobile services. But her question was, do I use both the Mag Eyes and the Derm Light together? No, I don't. And I have magnification in my glasses. So when I go to look at the skin with it, I'll even take my glasses off and use the Derm Light by itself. And then just quickly, if you have this on the client, you can line up your lens. You can snap a picture. Um, did I do that? You can snap a picture with it, but it is a little tricky if your phone moves. So you just want to practice with that. And that is in some of our manual videos and things like that. So thanks for that question. Yeah, and you know what? I do get that question a bit. Let me see here. Okay, let's see what we got. Some large millie. I don't really want to take up too much more time. This video's in our group,
Might
but
be a
this
little
is a large
uncomfortable
millia.
doing
She had
that,
other
but what
irregularities.
I'm
So
trying to do is get this
I just
opening,
made this as
and I'm done with the
an
probe.
irregularity, even
So
though
it's
it's
going to be
a little bit more
manipulating
finessed
this. I
around
just
the
want you to
eye.
keep your
She
eye
was super
relaxed.
happy,
Alright, as
but
long as you're not shocking me, I'm probably gonna be pretty good with this.
Yeah.
she was pretty good with it. But she had other things to treat as
So I'm just
well.
going to take my little tweezer.
And my tweezers
and
are
relax
pointing
your
up,
eye. There
not
we go.
down. It just looks that way on film. I guess I'll just let that ride for a second and
That's kind of what you're going to feel.
see that. That's
You're okay
pretty
with
good
that,
for a
right?
Monday morning watch. Yeah, it looks like I'm going right into her eye, but I'm not. Great.
You're doing great. It's all coming out, too.
Is it really?
So just relax your eye. There we go.
Oh, great. Good. Okay, that's enough of that. I love doing that kind of stuff, you know. Okay, so the DPN. This was a client of mine, and this was before and after. This was after her second treatment on the right. She put in different color contacts, and at a $300 client by the time I got done with that. She had many keratosis. So if you just see this, think of this. Take your imaginary Q-tip. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I see 14 at least. So 15, and she had just as many on the other side. So that's like 30. So if that's 30 times 25, that's like 650 or something like that. So but because some of them are small, maybe you could adjust it. But I charge $25 per irregularity. Let's take a look and see what you got. Oh, here's one. Here's a big one. Here are a couple tiny ones. So when they hear that, maybe they're going to think, oh, maybe she's going to give me a little bit of a break. Here is a quick. Okay, so these capillaries, if we're charging for these capillaries, take that imaginary Q-tip, right? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that is just on that side of the nose. So if you had 7 of them, that would be 175, sir. Would you like for me to go ahead and do those for you today? You show them the before and after in the book. You're confident. You look at them. You look with your magnifiers. You don't necessarily have to look at broken capillaries with a derm light because they're obvious to the naked eye. But anything you do to make your client feel special, more looked at than any other skincare provider around, then that's what you do. Here was only one capillary, really. So after a treatment, oh no, there were two. So after a treatment, I think I did some permanent makeup on her. I did two capillaries for $50 on this side. I'm sure she had something on the other side, but that's how you would do it. So for an additional $50, yes, I could do that for you today. And that they don't bat an eyelash. If you don't bat an eyelash during the consultation, neither will they. So this nice gentleman also was done during a training down in Louisiana. But if you look at his capillaries, and this picture is in the book too, so I like to show my clients this before, right after, they look blanched. While they're healing, they're going to be darker, and then the healed product. So when they can go from the before to the healed, and they see what happens in between, and they say, oh, no worries, I got that. Yep, I don't mind. Then you're good to go. But if you don't do that, and they wake up and they have a big crust there, and they thought they were going to magically be gone, then you have problems. But for this, I take that imaginary Q-tip and I just go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He had like 13 on the side of that base, right? So you have to say, I charge $25 per irregularity. Maybe that's 375, and then he's got the other side. So that's how you will say it. Now, if he was there for another procedure and then you were going to add it on, this one would take a little bit longer, maybe a good 20 minutes. So your schedule might not adhere to it, but that's how you're going to charge. That's a big job. That is a beautiful result. So, what would a laser center charge? A doctor with a laser, a technician with a laser, they would charge a lot more. So, this is a lot less. It's more precise, and then the touch ups are easier and much less expensive. We work around the eye, on the eye. This client just had her eyelid done, and I'm not sure why, but even so, she had it done. So let's see. They did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there were 10 irregularities treated, maybe 11, but some of them were very small. So that would be $250. I don't know why they just did the eyelid, but maybe she just wanted to give it a whirl. So 250. If I were doing it, I might say you have a few little tiny ones in there too. So instead of the 250, let's do 200, and we can do that today. It will only take about 5 minutes, and I'll have you out of here very shortly. And they don't mind that. They don't want to be in your office any longer. So Brina Yates sent us this a bunch of years ago, a very large brown spot that she did in probably 4 to 5 different treatments. Picture it like a piece of pie. And I don't know what she totally charged, but she did other things on this client as well. She did have keratosis. So she probably did a sliver of pie for $25. Like that was a part of the irregularity. So by the time she got done, she probably paid at least $100 for just that irregularity. So that's an oddball type of thing. But if you have a question about an oddball thing, and that was really much larger than we only treat the size of an eraser head. However, she did it in stages. So that made it palatable for the client, less chance of picking or scratching. Now, I had this nice gal there today, and I don't know if you guys got that and wanted to guess on what they were going to charge for something like this. But this is a young gal with DPN, and this came from Amanda Ralph. She's a trainer for me down in Florida as well. So I don't know what Amanda charged for this, but take out that imaginary Q-tip, point to every single one in a methodical fashion, and she probably has about 20 of them. The little raised keratosis, DPN, very easy to treat, quick to the point, and look at that beautiful result. Now, you can see the pictures on the bottom. Does she have a little bit of duskiness where she had a couple of those treated? Yes, it's a little smudge there. I'm not quite sure how long after the treatment that was, but that generally will subside too. And clients always need to use their sunblock. So make sure that somebody like her does as well. Wow, hey guys, you guys are really hopping on here. You really wish you could get more money in Arizona. I charge, see, Christine, no, you're doing it wrong. You don't want to charge $95 for 15 minutes because that 15 minutes, people are going to drum up all kinds of stuff. And you've been doing this for so long, and you've been kind of my hero when it comes to Groupon, right? So you make a good amount of money that way. But just try to do, these clients are already coming to see you. If they're already your client, they're trusting you. So when you do say, I charge $25 per irregularity, please don't go by time, because you're not going to make the same amount of money charging time when you charge per irregularity. Just is really a easier way to go, and a more of a commanding, a very confident way to go. 15 minutes in the office, you could do so much stuff that it would be crazy, and you would lose out on that one. But if it makes you happy, but it's not. So here's a nice gentleman. Love this guy. And a lot of you, if you've been to Cape Charles, he's been a great model for me. Look how great he looks after one treatment. Now, here he is before that treatment. And you could see all of his DPN. He had even a little bit more on the one side. But going from that to that, look how nice he healed up nicely. But my beautiful client, he does get DPN regularly. So about every year or so, he'll visit us and get a cleanup done. That's just a repeat. But I just want to show you how fast some of this can be, the DPN, because sometimes it might look a little daunting, like, oh my God, that looks like so much. But now look how fast, because they're not super thick. So I'm not having to dig into the skin like you do a very large keratosis. And so I'm just being as
In
methodical
2000
as
in each of them,
possible.
none of these
She's a little
speak of.
uncomfortable, but she
She
still
brought me
hung
some
in there.
pictures,
That was a lot of
just a
work.
little bit.
So we'll just watch just
You're
a
doing great.
little bit more. Yeah, you can see her kind of twitching a little bit, but maintaining good stretch on the skin will help that for sure. So yeah, I just motored all along. I think this video is 5 minutes. So let's see. I'm going to go here to the end. Yep. So it took about 5 minutes for that side of the face. The other side probably wasn't as bad. So just getting a reference on the timing of it, and your probe is $1. It's not that expensive to run. So because she had some smaller ones, I could do a little leeway on there, right? That's not a huge deal. One of our weird things that we do is not weird, but we do acne cysts. We do acne. So sometimes with acne, what we people
Go
are
through her cheeks
repeat
here and see
performers.
what I can
So
help her with.
her skin did have a lot of acne cysts. So you'll see the one that
So
I
she's
did.
a
Now,
little red in here, but she
let
doesn't
me
have
get to it.
anything really active pimple. I'm going to touch it until something happens.
That's weird.
You see a change, you see the sebum rise. Let me clean that sebum off of there. There we go. You okay, Melissa? Yeah. Okay. Now the pore is open. I'm going to slip this back into the pore. I'm not in the skin. I'm not penetrating the skin. I'm penetrating the pore. I'm stretching the pore. Now I will use my extractor just to help a little bit of that material out so that there's not as much pressure behind it. You okay?
Okay, so when we talk about the extractions and things like that, not everybody uses their Skin Classic that way. I do. I love to do that. I think it really helps my client. It's a little bit more advanced until you get somebody that has a lot of these things to be working on. But as far as charging goes, it's still $25 per irregularity. You know, I have had clients that have come to me for a treatment, whether dermafrac or, you know, dermaplaning, and they had a couple acne cysts that were brewing, you know, maybe the adult acne. I charge $25 per irregularity there. The same thing, even though down the road she may acquire a few more. That's the charge. I charge $25 per irregularity. You have two of those. Okay, we'll take care of those after your microderm or your dermafrac or whatever. And then they're usually going to say, okay, that's great, because they know how painful they are. So don't be afraid to charge for that type of a procedure as well. Oh, thank you, Denise. That's awesome. So let me, I know I've been keeping you guys for a little bit of a time here. Okay. So let me pop up here so you can kind of do that. And um, okay, so I appreciate you guys coming on. Are there any questions? I have never done any hyperpigmentation on the face. Can you talk about that specifically? What probe, what power, what level? So, Megan, I forgive me. How long have you had your Skin Classic? And if so, when were you trained? Because not everybody not everybody treats hyperpigmentation because they feel like it's a little too tricky. I do, but I look with my derm light and I have the videos on the very light treatment that it requires. Nothing too heavy. Anything too heavy is pushing too much into the skin, being as it's flat. Most of the things we treat are raised, like even cherry angiomas, skin tags, keratosis. They're raised up. Milia. I think we've had it about 9 months. Okay, so I don't know what company you're with, so I didn't recognize the name. Sorry. But there is a training. I'll post it in our group on specifically on hyperpigmentation because it is a little trickier than any of the other irregularities. So, okay. So let me see here. Where am I? Okay, so I have a giveaway. So I know a lot of you that I see here do have the Skin Classic. I see some of you aren't, but I was giving away another before and after book. And even if you are a provider and you got a before and after book in your Skin Classic box when it arrived, or maybe you're watching from years ago and you don't have one, this is going to be perfect for you. And if you're like me, I only keep this in my treatment room. I keep it so I can show my clients. I don't leave it out in the waiting room because it might disappear. This is $100. So you just don't want to let this vanish. You want to use it as a teaching tool so that the clients can dream about what they will look like. And if you're like me and you've gone through your book a ton, then it starts to wear. So you may need a second book. So I'm going to all those that popped in, charge it. Then I'm going to spin and we're going to get a winner. So with that said, Megan, I'm going to post in the group the hyperpigmentation video. You can go ahead and check that out. And I'm just looking to see if any other questions. Christine, I hope you start charging $25 per irregularity. Give it a whirl and see how it goes. I've also got a blog that just popped up today. You should get it in your inbox on how to confidently charge for your Skin Classic. So, oh, you're welcome. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start at the top. I'm coming down, going there. Janet Elder. So, Janet, you won the book. Be sure that you private message me your full name and address, and I'll have my trusty assistant, Jackie, send it off to you pronto. And so, thank you all for coming on and watching. And I hope this helps you gain the confidence to go ahead and charge for your Skin Classic treatments. It's fun when your clients get these great results, and it's even more fun when you're making that money. Remember, the more fun we have, the more money we make. And with the Skin Classic, it is a definite. Well, thanks everybody. Enjoy the rest of the week and stay tuned for more of my live trainings coming up on Mondays. Take care. Bye bye.